In this video, we'll take a look at users and groups in Broker Brain and how to administrate them. To get to the users and groups admin pages, you'll click the admin tab at the top of the screen, and then you'll find a users and groups sub-tab to the left. We'll start with users and then move on to groups next. To add a new user to your system, you'll expand the Add New User dialog at the top of the screen. Now, users in Broker Brain are allowed access to log into your system, but we're going to go to groups later, which will define what types of accesses they will have. So creating a new user just gives basic login capabilities to your users and also allows you to define a few things about how those users work. To the right of the initial password field, you'll see two checkboxes, the agent checkbox and the field inspector checkbox. If you were the person who signed up for the Broker Brain account, you were considered the primary user for the account. In that case, you will see the additional box above agent called super user. This box is described and explained in the markets video and relates only to how a user interfaces with the admin tab in a situation where there are multiple markets within the system. The agent checkbox allows you to define which users within your system can act as an agent and subsequently can be assigned to a property as an agent. And this can be done on a property by property basis. The only users that are set as agents in the users section of the system will be displayed as an option to be set within each individual property. Same holds true for field inspectors. If a user is not checked as a field inspector, then they may not be assigned as a field inspector to a property. Below that to the left, you'll see a field inspector region dialog or text field where you can enter the zip codes that a particular field inspector would be responsible for. And if we scroll to the top of the page, we'll see that in this case we have one zip code that is not represented by field inspectors within our system. It's alerting us that the 85238 zip code is not assigned to a particular field inspector. And the way this works is once you start filling in zip codes into the field inspector regions for the different field inspectors, the system will automatically assign properties within those zip codes to the appropriate field inspector. And you do have the option to override this option or override this assignment on a property by property basis. But it's important that if they are a field inspector, that the field inspector checkbox be checked. And this is also will affect the reporting system, and you won't be able to run a report for a field inspector unless they are set as a field inspector here first. So if we go over to a individual property, in this case our zip code for this property is 85138 and it's telling us that the assigned field inspector is Glenn. Now if we click edit on this, you will see that the field inspector option is set to default, which means that Glenn is assigned the 85138 zip code, therefore he's automatically assigned as the inspector to this property. We don't have any agent assignments at this time. But if I were to pop up either one of these menus, the assigned inspector, the only option for a manual override would be for Glenn. And when I go to the agent check or the agent menu, the only option I have there is Glenn as well. That is because Glenn is the only person in this system that was set up in the users tab as a agent and as a field inspector. So returning to the Add New User dialog in the admin page, you'll see that you have a place to enter agent license number, agent license expiration date, and just some general comments for the user themselves. Below that, you'll see a series of checkboxes that allow you to define which groups this particular user will be a member of. And you'll see that there's a handful of groups that are already defined within the system for you when you receive your system. For information on how to set up groups, watch the Getting Started with Groups video.